some people got the power, as well as Luke. So meet Luke. He's 27, he's married with a kid, he owns a cat, he likes to play video games. He used to be a software developer, but then he was recognized and promoted to a middle management position. His work life has its ups and downs, and his current challenge is the agile transformation that undergoes in his company, and now the time has come for his team. Then, depending on how this transformation is done, there are a variety of options. Option one, top management just says, okay, now they self-organize, let them do this, go. Or maybe the team goes to training, they come back on Monday and they say like, okay, now we self-organize and you are doing something like you're like kind of server or a servant, we don't remember, so make a coffee. Or if Luke is lucky, he goes to the training with the team and he buys in all the agile values and he understands why agile self-organization matters. Well, there are more options, of course, but mostly all these different situations just influence the amount of frustration and disorientation Luke has. I can sympathize to Luke. I've been in his position, and let me use this as an opportunity to talk a little bit of myself. My name is Yury Lytvynenko. I'm 32. I'm married with 2 kids. I own a cat. I used to be a software developer, and I used to be a manager, and now I'm an agile coach, and together with my partners as Scrum Guides, we help organizations change. So, but let's get back to Luke. He is, as I said, a little bit or a lot disoriented, perhaps scared, perhaps frustrated, and he asks questions to himself, like, am I redundant now? Am I a servant? Like, what the actual duck? Or if he's a little bit more advanced, he understands that, well, okay, to not be redundant, what do I do with my new role as a manager in an agile organization? But it all boils down basically to fears he has that he, well, might lose his job, or he won't be valuable in the company anymore. And as the master said, fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. And in this case, suffers not only Luke, but also his team. And Luke, because he doesn't understand really well what to do, he starts to expose the signs of a dark side, kind of anti-patterns for management. And the most common one is micromanagement, so we all know this. And it's clear, so we look over the shoulder and we try to control everything, etc., etc. Less common one is the opposite side of the scale. It's premature delegation. So I just delegated my bottle to Andrei. Yeah. And because he's not ready to accept that, he just blatantly returns it to me. Like, what was that, right? And yeah, that doesn't work that way. But I gave up my power over the bottle to him, and I'm scared, and I'm actually frustrated. Like, I sacrificed for you, and you don't value my sacrifice. Why? And that goes forceful delegation. Like, you must take it. Without nah, you're bad. You're not taking that. Why? I've seen that myself as a look, and I was like really frustrated. They don't understand. I'm doing my best. I have the best intentions. But okay, let's imagine we're I explained to Andrei that that's a bottle. You can manage it. I am ready to give it up to you, so please take it. He readily accepts it. Please, yes, thank you. And then I'm like, nah, you're holding it wrong. Give it to me. Let me hold it for you, okay? Now take it back. Nah, you're doing it wrong. So that's a shuttle delegation. And it is not far from the seagull management. Do you know seagull management? When the manager flies in, screams, shits on you, and then flies out. Of course, it's not the same, but the effect is quite similar. People are disoriented. They don't know what to expect. They are demotivated. Because, like, well, if it will be overridden anyways, why should I bother? And that is something I expressed too. And of course, there are, again, more options, more ways to screw up delegation and power use. But more often than not, they are driven by fear. By fear of being redundant, by fear of losing the job, by fear of being non-valued. And the best way to address fear is awareness. Because if you know if that sound in bushes comes from something small, cute, fluffy, and meowing, well, that sound is not that scary anymore, right? And for a manager, it's important to understand that giving out power to the team, it's not about all at once. It's neither all nor at once. And it's not also about like total democracy and let them rule and let the anarchy begin. No. It's all about autonomy without certain boundaries. And the most important thing to understand is that self-organization is not binary. You don't wake up on Monday self-organized. There are certain shades of self-organization, 50. Now, well, Hackman suggests the following model. Before I dive into it, I want to recite one of the mathematicians who said that all models are wrong, but some are useful. And this model is useful particularly. So Hackman defines 4 core areas of team's life, which is, well, the basic one is executing the actual work. Then the second one is monitoring and managing the work process. Then the designing of the performing unit of the team itself, like who's on the team, who does what, etc., etc. And top one is setting overall direction for the team or for the organization. And if we see that the team owns only the task execution execution area and everything else is in manager's responsibility, then it's a manager-led team. If we move one step ahead and allow team to manage the work process while everything else is on manager, that would be a self-managing team. Kanban teams are often go to this area. And you can see where it goes with the self-designing teams and self-governing teams. Self-designing teams are often Scrum teams. Because, well, team needs to design itself to be able to complete all the work they're supposed to complete. And here, another important thing, it's also not binary. Again, the transition from a work process owned by a manager or owned by a team doesn't happen overnight. And in reality, it looks more like that. So it is a gradual passing of the authority inside the team. And what can help here is Jürgen's delegation poker. Do you know the delegation poker? Who would like me to explain it a little bit? Okay. Enough. So he says again that, surprise, surprise, delegation is not binary. And he defines like 7 levels of delegation, from not delegating at all and taking the decision completely on your own, up to absolute delegation, like shoot and forget. Just do the thing, and I trust you do the best. And in between there are different levels of delegation. Like in case of cell, I not only tell you, I'm not just telling you to do the job, I convince you that my way to do the job is the best one and is the right one. And in between there is an agree, where it's kind of boundary. On an agree level, the decision is taken mutually, and then after it's on the team, and manager can influence it to more or less extent. And the delegation poker game is an exercise when you just write down all the key activities, well, whenever you want, and then you discuss with the team for each of the activities at which level you are ready to give the power out, and very important one, what they are ready to accept. Because with great power comes, you know what, great responsibility. So this helps to address the redundancy fear, right? Because you can take a conscious decision that you stop at self-managing team, and that might be okay for your organization and for your team. Or you can decide that, okay, we gradually move step by step to self-designing and self-governance, and that's a long path. Enough, it might be enough for a career, and then again, there are things to do. But a part of fear of being redundant, there is another one. It's the fear that they screw up. And the bad news are they will. And the shuttle delegation is often driven by exactly this fear. Like, I see you are going off the cliff. I must protect you and I must save you. But it serves like really not so good purpose to the team because it overprotects them. Do you know why Britney Spears is here, right? Yeah, it depends on the age. And exhibition to the pop culture. So, yeah, overprotection is a bad thing. But risking the company future, well, is also not very good too, right? Because if we just give up all the power and let them fail whatever they want, well, we might end up somewhere crashed. It's like with children. Well, if the kid is about to fall off the couch on the carpet, well, perhaps it's a good thing to allow her to do this because, well, this way she learns edges exist for a reason. But if your couch is 1.5 meters high and the floor is marble, nah, you better somehow help her. And what could be the safe way to allow mistakes? And you must allow mistakes because that's the way that people learn. Again, clear boundaries. That helps a lot. A safety net. So the team knows that even if they fall off the cliff, there is something that will catch them and won't ruin everything. And also a definition of when to interfere. And the big difference from the shuttle delegation is the clear expectations and clear rules. And when people know what to expect and what are their autonomy boundaries, they respond much better. So, yeah, like all good. We addressed 2 basic fears and we can go for lunch, right? Not so fast. That's, for those who know or don't know, that's Team Urban's instant gratification monkey. And it's there because we are monkeys, right? Nobody argues this fact, but well, some people do, but they also say the earth is flat. So, but we are not only monkeys, we are habitual monkeys. And there is reason for that. What does it mean, habitual? It means that most of the time we operate as an unconscious, pre-programmed robot. Why? Well, why do beavers have large teeth? When kids are asking their parents about this question, parents often go like, well, it's to be able to cut the trees, to build homes, etc., etc. But the real answer would be, all beavers with small teeth died out. They went extinct. Because evolution, well, she's kind of evil, and she knows no mercy. So everyone who cannot adapt quickly enough, wiped out. And I can imagine that there have been some Homo sapiens something that was conscious all the time, or most of the time. But while he was figuring out, is this shadow is cast by a tiger or by a rock shaped by a tiger, or shaped like a tiger? Guess what happened? They were eaten by a tiger. And that's why we carry just right amount of consciousness, and no matter how you look at how our brain operates, either with Daniel Kahneman's model he describes in his awesome book Thinking Fast and Slow, where he names System 1 and System 2, or Tim Urban's instant gratification monkey and rational thinker model, which is a little bit easier to digest because, well, one book is written by an academic and another thing is just a funny tech talk. But no matter what, our brain operates in two modes. First one is smart. That's the mode in which we take conscious decisions and we can think rationally and can compare and we can look into the future and we can estimate that what we do now influences our future in a good or not so good manner. The problem with that mode is that first it's really energy consuming, and another one, guess what, it's slow because you need to compare options, etc., etc., etc. That's why most of the time we operate in the default mode, which is really fast, it's really energy efficient, but like with every energy efficient thingy, it's not quite smart. And it uses pre-programmed stuff like habits, like reflexes, etc. And when we take decision to give out power to someone, we make it in a smart mode. But then, of course, we default to our habitual behaviors because of energy efficiency, and then monkey takes the steering wheel. Especially if the panic monster arrives. Now, Tim Urban's panic monster scares the monkey, and she just gets away of rational thinkers steering. But in our case, it's vice versa. In a stress situation, we need to respond fast, so we are not eaten. That's why we jump to the habitual behaviors. We act as we used to act, so that our brain uses the neural paths that are wide enough, so that sending a signal there takes little to no energy. And if you think it's not bad enough, it happens not only on a personal level, but also on the group level. We behave differently, personally and in a group. A friend of mine calls herself a social smoker, because she smokes only when she's in a group that smokes. Otherwise, she doesn't have a desire to do this, but in such a group, she just follows it. And if you think, well, I'm different, you might be surprised. There are studies, you might have seen these videos, where a bunch of people goes into the elevator and then in those people only one is not an actor, everyone else are experimentators, monkeys. So everyone, when they come into the elevator, doors close, well, people usually stand face to the door, but all the group turns back to the wall. And the only person who doesn't do this because, well, she doesn't understand what's going on, so everyone stands face to the wall, she stands to the door, and she feels like really high pressure to do the same, without understanding why she should do this, she just does this, and many people do. Of course, it's possible to resist this pressure, but it's really hard to. And if Luke is really good at delegation, but the company culture is micromanagement, well, he will have hard times resisting this temptation and resisting this pressure. But good news, everyone. If you know the guy, it's Professor Farnsworth from Futurama. His phrase, "good news, everyone," often didn't mean anything good to the crew. But it's not the case. News are indeed good, and the news are that monkey can be trained. Surprise, surprise. And even the group monkey can be trained too. It's like firmware upgrade for engineers here. It's tricky and cumbersome, but yeah, it's still possible. And to explain how this can be done, let's dive a little bit into habits of anatomy. So each habit consists of like 3 elements. It's a trigger, something that triggers the habit. I don't know, like I go outside. Well, that's a trigger to get a cigarette and smoke. And that is an action. And then after the action, there is a reward. My dopamine system is tricked by nicotine, and I'm happy for a while. Same as Luke. He feels anxiety about the deadlines. He goes and yells at people that they need to hurry up and be on time. And then, well, he gets a sense of control of what's going on. And, well, he's happy. Not for long. And understanding how this works allows you to trick the habit. First, you need to know your triggers. Like what causes the default behavior and the bad behavior and the behavior you would like to override. Then just avoid the trigger. Haha. Unfortunately, that's the easiest thing. But it's really hard to do oftentimes. And it is also really hard to notice the trigger because, well, you are operating in a default mode which does not notice much. What you can do, if there is a person you trust, you can ask to signal you when you're triggered with this kind of token, for example. It says don't be bossy, or just stop it. Ask your teammates to give you such kind of token when you're bossy, or you exhibit some behavior you would like to stop. There are more tokens at our stand, if you're curious. Or you can use any other kind of signal just to get things rolling, to understand. And once you've noticed the trigger, you can reroute to another action. So instead of yelling to a person, go to a visual radiator, to a task board, and understand, oh yeah, we're kind of on time. Or, oh no, we're a little bit behind and we need to discuss. And it is important to do something after you've noticed the trigger. Because, well, that's how our brain works. If it's triggered, it needs to do the action and it needs to receive the reward. If this doesn't happen, you'll have huge resistance noticing the trigger next time. So do something else. And, well, most important, after this something else, there should be a reward. I don't know, again, sense of control, or maybe chocolate, or something else. And this approach also helps to build new habits. And again, the capacity of the fast system of our brain is limited, so when you add something, something will most likely go out of there. And building new habits helps to overcome the bad ones. And like really cool thing to do this, to build new habits or fight old habits, is the mini habits system. I won't go there. Just stop it. Don't go there. Because like it's another topic for like 4 hours of discussions. But the main idea is that make your new habit so small, so tiny, that it's loved by your brain and there is no resistance to execute it. So that's how you can trick the habit. And to summarize, remember, it's not black and white. Be conscious about your decision and be consistent in applying what you've decided. Train the monkey with mini habits, and that would allow you to develop good behaviors instead of old ones. And yeah, that would be it. Thank you. And now questions, if any. Thank you. Or absolutely not clear. Okay. Then we're, yeah. Hold on. Triggers?
Yeah, triggers.
Okay, an example on how to avoid the trigger. Well, I know a person that knows a person that quit smoking by changing their route to the bus station. Well, because he had a habit, when he goes and passes by the park, he lights up a cigarette and happily goes to the bus stop. And when he changed the route, well, there was no park, there was no trigger to light up the cigarette, and well, that's an avoiding a trigger. If, for example, well, there are different kinds of triggers, right? It may be some person that annoys you, and you dive into, I don't know, furious, screaming person. Well, an easy way is to avoid that person, if that's possible. So that would be an example. Mm-hmm. Okay, touching on organizational habits and how to deal with them. Well, one of the organizational habits can be, well, cover your S-driven development. Know that? Is that, yeah, it's, well, people are used to do things, well, so that they are not yelled at or punished or whatever, yeah, and not for the good, but just for the sake of not being punished. And that is one of the, well, popular organizational habits. How to deal with that? Well, gradually create a safe environment where you can fail. So, but well, it's easier say to do, of course. But in changing behaviors, there are no easy ways. All of them are like making a tiny step every day. And you know how to delay a 1-year project for a year? It's easy, 1 day at a time. Same here, a long path starts with the first step. So that's how you deal with that. Answer? Yeah, thanks.
One more question. Imagine situation if we delegate some requests to your teammate.
Okay.
And if they think that they cannot find an answer, no, they don't have answer why. He look like it's like a stress monster, like you previous.
Yeah, panic monster.
And how you maybe give some advice to calm down, everything is okay.
Okay.
Don't worry, just thinking about white and black, like you.
Okay, yeah. Well, first of all, if I get the question right, is so you're giving something to a person, he doesn't understand how to deal with that, and then he panics and he doesn't accept that, right? Okay, so well, awareness is your friend, and you explain, and well, how do you do stuff with kids when they first drive a bicycle, right? First of all, you do these together. And then, well, maybe first you're kind of driving, then he's driving, you're supporting, then he's driving by his own. So that's how you deal with that. Anything else? Yep.
What if I'm lucky and have kind of managers that do all these mistakes? What should I do in this case? How can I start the dialogues?
You can start by giving them token of don't be bossy. Well, it's tricky. It's even trickier than a personal change, because well, if I don't like a picture on a wall in your apartment, I cannot just come in and change it, right? So, well, what works usually is careful and like really gentle, showing the amount of like damage these kind of behaviors do. Or maybe showing him, well, sometimes people are on the dark side because they don't know that the light side exists. So this might be the case. And again, understanding that it might be driven by something not that obvious, for instance, like fear, well, also helps. But again, there are no easy answer. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I was a manager. Right?
Yeah. Can you please give one example from the real life, from an organization or working with some people or a group of people, when you changed behavior, not good behavior, to the something like that you think on your mind, something, the most greatest achievement that you did to the good one?
Yeah, my biggest shame, I guess, is the forceful introduction of Scrum in the team. And surprise, surprise, that didn't work at all. It all went bananas. When I changed it a little bit to like, okay, let people first understand what is it, and to accept it, well, yeah, it works much better. So yeah, I was this kind of person that like gives responsibility forcefully. And well, yeah, that doesn't work too well, I must say. Have I answered the question? It's a little bit vague, but it's hard to go into specifics. Yeah.
when high management can take position like product owner and CEO in one position, and it's often situation when he delivers some task not correctly. Like you have to do this without any expectation, but he has this expectation in his mind, and he don't want to deliver this vision of solution how to solve this, and he don't want to change his mind his personally, and it creates a lot of problems because team cannot deliver something correctly, or you cannot solve this problem correctly. What to do with this type of personnel in companies? Is it possible? Is there some easy solution how to change them if they don't want to change?
No. Well, if as a saying goes, you can walk the horse to the water, but you cannot make it drink it, right? So I don't know. The only way to do this is again like talk and discuss. That's why like Scrum, for example, is all about collaboration and it's about feedback. And again, for business people, it really works expressing the consequences in terms of money or business value, or not gained revenue, or whatever. I don't know. Try to speak his language. Sorry?
So just conversation is possible.
Yeah, I'm not sure anything else.
Or to leave company.
Yeah, well, change organization or change organization, right? Okay, let's the last question, and let's go eat something. Yeah, don't do this, please.
Sorry.
So just to summarize and understand, basically, did I understand correctly that to start and understand what you can delegate, you should build a list of your activities and play the delegation poker with the team? And
yeah,
that would be the
that's
like practical steps, right?
That's a great way to start, right? Exactly.
Thank you.
But it's very important that this discussion is bidirectional. So it doesn't happen without the team. Because as with the bottle, like team might not be ready to accept what you are ready to give out. So it's really but well, yeah, if you decide that's it's okay, but yeah, exactly. So it always helps to talk. Okay, thank you all. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for all attention.